All right, pull up a seat. This is my canning confessional. So if you are thinking about canning, learning how to can, starting to can, or even if you are a canner, there are some things that no one tells you. And I'm not talking about how to can, how to follow recipes, how to know if your lid's sealed, how to know if your food is safe to eat. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about what happens to you and how you could go a little can, cray. So for me, it started with my Maine gardens, and we had an abundance of beautiful tomatoes. And I really wanted to preserve the tomatoes. So I decided I'm going to start canning. Now, I had canned years and years ago when I was a kid. That was a long time ago. So I did my homework, I did my research, did all the things, and went for it. So I canned my first batch of tomatoes. These are Romas. Come on, gorge. Okay, here's what nobody tells you. First of all, prepping and canning tomatoes is awesome. It's also a huge mess. Okay, if you skin them like I did, I boiled them and then threw them in some ice water and then skinned them, peeled them, blah, blah, blah. Some of them I roasted and then peeled. Regardless, it's a mess. Your kitchen will look like a murder scene. You will then find random tomato skins, random tomato seeds, and random tomato splashes everywhere. And don't tell me, oh no, I'm neat. My kitchen would never look like that. No. It's much like when you have a live Christmas tree in your house and you remove it and you put a bag over it and you still find needles for weeks, months, sometimes years. You will find evidence of tomato canning for a long time. These are the things nobody tells you. The other thing that nobody tells you is once you do it, you're hooked. You're seriously hooked. Tomatoes are kind of the gateway drug to canning. And you're going to want to can more tomatoes and more tomatoes and more tomatoes. And so then you run out of your own tomatoes. So then you become like this tomato hunter. And you're asking your friends, you have any leftover tomatoes? Any leftover tomatoes? You're going to every farmer's market. You're buying tomatoes because you know that soon the season will be over and they won't have any more. And you want to get as many as you can. Next thing you know, speaking from experience, you're bringing home a 30-pound box of Romas from the farmer's market. And now you're making salsas. Lots and lots of salsas following the recipe. Yeah, so then you're thinking, well, now what can I can? Apples. Apples are another easy entry-level canning. And you, in my case, pick all the apples off the tree. You buy apples, you're picking apples, you're finding apples, and you're making applesauce. Oh, but then you start following this awesome Facebook page. It's all about canning. And people are sharing recipes. So you had just intended to make applesauce. Oh, but no, there's a recipe for apple maple jelly. Must make that now. Then you're thinking, ooh, holidays. And then you see a recipe on the Facebook page for apple cranberry jam. And you're making that. It never ends. Okay. So here's the other thing that nobody tells you about canning. And here's some of the behaviors that you will start exhibiting once you start canning. When you pull your cans out, I water bath. When you pull your cans out of the water, okay? And they're hot and they're steamy and it's like, and you've been through so much to get them to this point. And then you sit there and you wait for the cans to pop. And when they do, you're like, yes, 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 yes. And your family's going, okay, whatever. And you wait and you wait and you wait. It's the coolest thing. Well, then, here's the other thing. After you bring your cans out, you're supposed to let them sit for 24 hours without touching them. Okay. That teaches you serious patience. Do you know how hard that is? Don't touch them for 24 hours. Are you kidding me right now? So you go to bed, you wake up in the night, you have to pee. And I'm telling you, you're going to come out and you're going to check your cans and you're going to look at them and you're going to look at them. They look good. They look good. You become a crazy person. And the other thing that nobody tells you about canning is that during canning season, you know you have a short window. You will can all the time. You will can all weekend. You will stay up late and can. You will just squeeze it in every moment. You get a call. You might get a call to like, oh hey. There's a Sting concert tonight in town, and we have an extra ticket in the skybox, and also a backstage pass, and Sting is going to teach you how to play guitar and give you his guitar. You want to go? And you're like, oh, you know what? I've got these tomatoes that if I don't get them canned tonight, they're going to get mushy, so yeah, no. You know what I'm talking about. If you know what I'm talking about. It becomes your obsession and your life, and everything else just has to wait. The other thing that nobody tells you about canning, once you start, you want to try all sorts of recipes. So you go from just innocent tomatoes, next thing you know, you're making cowboy stuff. Because you saw a recipe. You didn't even know what this was. You're canning beets. You're canning chutney. You're making chutney. Oh my gosh. Then you're going to the farmer's market and you're like, oh, cowboy candy. There we go. Look at all those beautiful red onions. You're never going to eat these. You buy them because you're going to figure out how to can those. This is the canning truth. This is the truth about canning. The other thing, where do you store this stuff? So after it's done and you have to put it somewhere, you have to find a place. Now, I have a small pantry, so that's where it's going. But now I'm looking at that small pantry and I'm like, it'd be really cool if we built a whole like canning room downstairs in the basement. I get all my canning supplies. So any money you've saved on canning, no. You're gonna want to, I want like a wine cellar. I want like a canning cellar now. Yeah. Then the other thing that you do, you will walk into wherever your cans are, wherever your canned food lives, whether it's a closet, a pantry, a cellar, basement, whatever. You will visit it. You will just go in and you will open the door and you will just look at it. And you're just going to talk to them. These are the things nobody tells you happens to you when you start canning. The other thing is, in the beginning, you kind of just write on the label what you've canned and the date. But then you're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have pretty I just spilled something. Wouldn't it be nice to have pretty labels? So the next thing you know, you're hunting for pretty labels and you're pulling everything out and you're putting a pretty label on it, even if you're the only person who will ever see it. And then you're going to put it back in your little canning area and you're going to go visit it and look at your beautiful work. Because it is art, let's face it. So many of us can because we're thinking, oh, these would be great gifts to give to our friends and family. Like I'm going to probably give these away for the holidays. I've already given some of this maple apple jam away. I made a boatload of chutney I'm going to give away. But you know what you start doing? you start kind of filtering who is canning worthy. You know what I'm talking about. Because you're like, well, I know they'll appreciate this so much, and he, or they will enjoy it, and all my work will be worth it. But then you're thinking about other people. You're like, yeah, I don't know if they'll appreciate it enough. Are they worthy of receiving my wonderful homemade canned goods? So you're going to start judging your friends. These are the things nobody tells you about when you start canning. And the other thing nobody tells you about when you start canning is how much fun it is and how rewarding it is. And there's just something, it just feeds your soul. It just feels good to know that you're creating this beautiful food and treats for yourself and for people you care about and people you love, that came from your own garden, or maybe you bought your fruits and vegetables from a local farmer, so you're supporting them, so that feels good. You know what's in each jar, so you know what you're eating, and you know that come winter you're going to have this lovely stash of great food. It's going to taste good and remind you of freshness in summer. And so it's a very rewarding endeavor. And I encourage you, if you've never tried it, to give it a try. There's a lot of great resources out there. And have fun. So that is my canning confessional. And I thank you for hanging out with me in my Maine Gardens kitchen. I gotta go because I got some onions to slice. Talk to you later.